Yeah, welcome back to the program. 23 minutes to 9 here on the Big Sports Breakfast. Loz, you get a little bit immune at times, don't you, to the stars that you get to speak to when you're in our position. And you feel very lucky about it. But I reckon, well, I'm excited about our next guest. It's a Socceroos goalkeeper, Matty Ryan, joining us in the studio. G'day, Matty.
Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah, really well. Thanks for coming in. We're just talking off air. A break at last after 6 years.
Yeah, I don't really know what it is anymore, but trying to take advantage of it.
How long are you home for?
Yeah, 4 weeks in total here in Australia, so yeah, good to visit the friends and family and whatnot.
And when you've got that break, do you train at all, or do you just have a 2 or 3 days sort of off, or how do you go about you sort of taking your rest and leave?
Yeah, initially I just switch off and sort of go hang out with friends. Don't worry about the training so much, but I get quite guilty, quite early. So probably in a couple, say 10 days or so, I might get back into some training and doing some gym work to just tick me over a little bit.
Yeah, right. Are you a footy tragic? As in, will you get up and watch the Europa League final? Will you get up and watch the Champions League final live?
He'll be still out.
He might be a Club Marconi. You might Club Marconi on Sunday.
Possibly. We'll just have to see how the nights are going. But when I was in Australia in the past, sometimes, big games I used to get up, but also sometimes if I was super tired, I just used to sleep through and look at the highlights in the morning. We'll have to see how I'm going.
Can you believe how far you've come, mate?
No, it's a bit surreal. Even coming back here and catching up with family and friends, and they're just talking about, I guess, things that I've achieved or just experiences I've had over the past 12 months, and even before that in my career. And you got to pinch yourself sometimes.
Because it's every young man's dream is to obviously represent your country and then play in the best league in the world. When you were playing there, when you went to Westfield High. Then you were up at the Central Coast Mariners. Where did you ever think your football career would end up?
Yeah.
Did you always have that belief in yourself that you could make it?
Well, I just always tried to do my best, and I used to watch in awe of the Premier League and Champions League and be like, I'm never going to be good enough to get to that level. This kid from growing up in Mount Druitt and whatnot. I mean, it was the dream, but I just watched it and was like, nah, I'm never going to have the capabilities or, qualities in order to get there. And it probably wasn't until I sort of started, to make a bit of a, obviously, career for myself at the Mariners where I was like, okay, start believing in yourself now. Go over. I had a few experiences with some, trainings and trials over in England and whatnot beforehand, and that was probably when the belief probably started to kick in.
Were you one of these young boys that played representative football from a young age and made every rep side?
Yeah, my club form I did, but the state teams and all that we were, that were on under 14s, under 15s and all that, I was, not getting picked, getting told I was too short and all these types of things. Wow. So, all good life lessons actually that helped serve me and helped get me to where I am today, and taught me that nothing comes easy.
Yeah. And the sacrifices that you make. So this is the thing that we only see you when you representing the Socceroos or playing in the EPL, which is all well and good. But tell us about. From what I understand, you lived in a caravan when you first went up to the Mariners because that's what you had to do, right?
Yeah. Basically, me and my best mate Bernie Abini, who was playing at the Mariners at that time, also we were on minimum wage up there at the Mariners, and. Yeah, it just so happened to be that we had our little holiday house up there in Nora Head Caravan Park, and two young boys on minimum wage. We thought it was probably the best circumstance for us to stay there and save a little bit of money in not having to sort of rent out a place that was a little bit more expensive, and it was great for us. A nice little humble environment, and had everything we need. We had a TV in there, we had the PlayStation and a little kitchen, and we had the toilet block, 80 metres down the road that we had to use. So I guess, I mean, the environment up there with the Mariners, the culture that was up there, I guess it fitted in well with that.
Yeah, I know the EPL is on a much bigger scale to what it is here in the A-League, but is there the same camaraderie and feel within the confines of the dressing room in terms of the player relationships? Because out here in Australia, you sense that everyone gets on well and they have a bit of a joke and they mingle with one another. But in the EPL, you've got stars. But do they all mix as closely as they do, say, in a competition like the A-League?
I think the cultural side of thing plays a part. I mean, there's so many obviously different countries out over there, and they all live in slightly different ways. I think the English is probably the most similar in what I've experienced. They all obviously love a laugh, love a joke, a bit of banter, and love a beer and all those types of things. So it's very similar. But in saying that, also, since moving up into the Premier League, the club, when I arrived there, a lot of international players have come along as well. So that English contingent has sort of slowly been making its way out the door a little bit. But it's a great club up there in Brighton, and everyone gets along and the camaraderie is there. But yeah, in Australia it's just different. A lot more Australians in the team, and yeah, my coach Graham Arnold and obviously Mossy, who were up there, they were very big on that cultural aspect, and keeping the dynamic around the change room very fun and relaxed.
Didn't miss a game first year in the English Premier League, 34 games the season just gone. The venues that you play at, give us a standout there, and the striker that you come up against when you go, right, I need to be on my game today.
Oh, the striker's nearly every game, to be honest.
Right.
To be separating, the likes of Aguero and Eden Hazard and Aubameyang in Arsenal, and they're all great, strikers, and even the other teams. You can't disrespect anybody in that league because anyone can beat anyone.
Yep.
The stadiums playing at, for me, Old Trafford and Anfield, they're tough to split. They both got great atmospheres, and it's a joy when you go there and play to, I guess, take that moment to take it all in and recognise where you are. I mean, these stadiums used to grow up, when I was a kid, watching Champions League.
Yeah.
And, seeing, some of the most famous games being played there, and to think that I'm now there playing out on that same pitch that has had all these historic games, it's, like I said, surreal.
Well, we know that the fans are very passionate when you play, the major clubs, the big clubs, and all clubs over there in the EPL. When you're standing at the back there and the ball's up the other end of the field, how much abuse do you cop?
Quite a bit. I mean, I've always been someone to try and not show that I've heard what's being said and whatnot, but they definitely get in your ear, and the grounds like Anfield and Old Trafford and that, like, the crowd are really close to you as well, and I mean, it can be quite intimidating, but at the same time, it's what makes it so much better as well. And in those situations where someone's absolutely giving you a bollocking and whatnot, if you can come out triumphant in that moment, it's a nice feeling.
I know this is a weird question, but was there ever a moment early in your career when you're on that stage and the ball is up the other end, you think, wow, what am I doing here at Anfield, or what am I doing here at Old Trafford?
Yeah, no, especially in the first year. Obviously, it was the first experience for me visiting some of those grounds, and it was just like, when the ball's up the other end, obviously get taught to, as a goalkeeper, to try to keep your focus on the match, but you can't help it sometimes. Just be like, take a look around and be like, wow.
I remember doing that as a footy player, playing at Old Trafford, running out there for a test match and thinking, wow, we're playing at Old Trafford, and during the game you're sort of looking up at the stand where your focus should be on the ball, on the game. But that's early in your career and something that you do.
55 caps for the Socceroos, 2 World Cups, 2 Asian Cups as well that you've been to. We were talking earlier, you're only a young man still, Matty. You've got a lot of World Cup football in front of you. Based on what Graham Arnold is doing, how excited are you about the future of Australian football at the international level?
Yeah, really excited. I mean, I had the pleasure of obviously having Arnie at the Mariners, and I know, what he's capable of as a manager. And unfortunately, in the most recent Asian Cup, we didn't perform as well as we would have wanted, or get as far as we would have wanted. Our goal was to be the first side to ever go back-to-back in the tournament. But, with the amount of changes we had leading up to the tournament, obviously, it's common sense. It takes time, with those changes in order to, I guess, gel together and, implement them fully within the squad. And, for that reason, it didn't quite go as planned. But like I said, Arnie's a great, tactician and a great man manager, and possesses all the qualities as a manager that you need to be successful. He's proven that in his managerial career until now, and I have no doubt that with the national team, we're going to, be heading down the same path of success.
Matty, you told us about you and Bernie doing things on the cheap up there at Central Coast Mariners. What's the most extravagant thing you've treated yourself to now that, without prying, I'm sure you're making a bit of coin in the English Premier League?
Probably would say cars.
Cars?
I like a nice car. So
okay, what do you got? What's in the garage?
This year I had a Porsche GT3 RS. So just a 2-door machine that's made for the racetrack and not so much the road, everyday road. So
well, it'd be pretty embarrassing if you didn't have a good car over there. You'd imagine if you turned up. Imagine if you turned up in the Datsun 180B. You pulled into the car park. They'd be all looking. What are you doing?
Maybe I have to go for that next year. Different element.
But just on Arnie, have you noticed a change in the way he now presents or coaches from where he was at the Mariners?
Yeah, definitely in his I guess confidence approach with his mentality. He's much more now adapted an approach where it's more a boxer's mentality going in. Confidently saying in the public that we're going to go out and confidently beat this team with the way we're going to be playing and whatnot. And I mean, obviously behind closed doors at the Mariners, we used to operate that way, but that's why doing it in the public and even more so than in the past is something that was different and a new experience for me. And he's obviously developed in that aspect and is trying to implement it within the squads.
And do you like the fact that the coaches talk that positively about the team? Do you think it may put extra pressure on you? Because we've been discussing this week about Queensland Origin coach Kevin Walters. Different mindset all of a sudden, and he's been working with a guy that Graham's been working with in Bradley Stubbs, and they're not talking about the opposition, and they're talking about going to win. How do you find that as a player?
I think individually it's good, and collectively as our team, it gives us confidence. Obviously, at the end of the day, and as you just know, in any sport, when you're confident and relying on your instincts, that's probably when you're at your peak of your form. And in that aspect, it's great. I mean, he still finds the balance, obviously, also in analysing the opposition and recognising what we need to be doing ourselves in order to avoid their strengths, and obviously highlighting their weaknesses and what we can do as a side in order to break them down and create goal scoring opportunities. So there's a fine balance there, and he does a good job at reaching that medium. And at the end of the day, we go out there with a game plan, and we're all on the same page. And when we're full of confidence and whatnot, that's going to give us the best chance to be successful on the day.
Matty, we can't let you go without having a discussion about the National Rugby League team that you support. Long-suffering Parramatta Eels fan, mate. What's going on? How did you start supporting the Eels?
I wasn't too happy to find a little sign out there taking the mickey out of them. I ripped it down off the wall, something about how many eels does it take to change a light bulb or whatever it was. So it's no longer out there, but I mean, the boys had quite a strong start this season. The last couple of weeks haven't been as good, but I'm going out to the game on Friday night, so hopefully I can bring some luck and I can get a result.
And I saw you at New South Wales Origin training yesterday, and Dave Clemmer, he was below you at school or in front of you at school?
Well, I mean, a bit of both. Below me in terms of the age, and I'm a bit older than him, but above me because of his height. He was a very obvious figure in the playground. I don't think he's grown since he was at school.
Was he crazy then, like he is now?
Well, I never actually chatted to him much. I was too scared. I tried to stay away. So he's a very big boy. He was two heads above everybody else in the playground. So I didn't hang out with him too much. But when I went down there yesterday, I caught up with him, and he come over straight away, and it was a nice bit of respect and friendship. So.
Hey, Matty, we've got no name on it, but my son met Matt Ryan's grandfather at the entrance on the weekend. That's from the Single Fin. Great fella. So there you go. There's a photo of the pop.
He's still world.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Fantastic. So I'm sure all the listeners appreciate the fact what you're doing in the English Premier League, of course, what you're doing for the Socceroos. And, mate, are you out here? You're promoting anything? What are you
No, just basically on a holiday, really.
And you come in and do some media? That's great.
Just thought come in. I enjoyed it a little bit, having a chat to you guys and whatnot. So
Excellent. Good luck with the pre-season training and, of course, season 19-20 over there in the English Premier League, and so too with the Socceroos. And, mate, great to have you in here.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Been a pleasure, Matt. Thank you.
There is Socceroos goalkeeper and Brighton Hove Albion goalkeeper as well, Matt Ryan. We're going to go to a break. As we go to the break, Loz, where's your Arsenal jersey, mate? Because we're going to give a jersey away because of the Europa game tomorrow morning, and they're the outsiders, aren't they, Arsenal in that one?
Who did you win that, Matty?
I was an Arsenal fan growing up, so that's my team. So
all right, okay, there we go.
Behind Brighton, obviously.
Well said. Call now if you think you know the answer to what year were Arsenal undefeated in the Premiership. What year Were they the Invincibles? Give us a call now, 1353 53.